So, Dr. McGinn, what types of chains are there in the Australia-New Zealand paired kidney exchange program?
The types of chains that can be created are a bit dependent on the donors that enter the program. There is a small number of donors that are called altruistic donors, and you can see on the Transplant Network some videos from an altruistic donor. But these are people who really come forward and say, I'd like to give a kidney, but they don't want to give their kidneys necessarily to a specific person, and they don't enter the program with another individual. They come in as an individual saying, I want to give. The advantage of them coming in is we don't need to match them at the end, with their recipient. So they create like a domino effect where they just create this kind of chain that just keeps on ticking over. So it means that when we get an altruistic donor in New Zealand, we've had up to 20 recipients from that one individual, and kidneys keep flying across the Tasman as we sort of move and match as they keep on going. Ultimately, at the end, when we reach the point where we can't match the end kidney, that goes to the wait list. So it'll go to the wait list. And if the altruistic donor is Australian, it'll go to the wait list in Australia. If the altruistic donor is from New Zealand, it'll most likely go to the wait list in New Zealand. So they generate a lot of transplants. And the second type of chains are what we do need to match everybody. So we call those kind of closed loop chains. And that might be quite simple. It might be two pairs where I've just sort of described, donor A gives to recipient C, donor B gives to recipient B. That's quite simple. You can make those closed chains, bigger. The complexity of managing surgeries and theatres and all those teams, because they all need to be done on the same day. We don't want anybody pulling out and leaving everybody high and dry. So they're all done at once, and the complexity of those can be quite challenging. But we tend to do anywhere between 2 pairs in one chain, but we might do up to 5 pairs in one chain, all done in one day. Yeah.
Yeah, that just seems like a logistical nightmare to me. I don't know how you even manage that, but that's incredible.
It's I think what it is what this program has achieved, amongst many things, is there's a lot of goodwill in the health system. With it, everybody wants to get it to work. So, and that's within the transplant team, but it's also outside of that with theatres. We pull a lot of favors. We ask a lot of people to help us to get early starts, and people, knowing that there's that end point and they know it's for a really good cause, they kind of go above and beyond. And I think it's probably one of the highlights of working in the health system, because you get to see everybody just giving that 150% for the patients. So it's very rewarding.
Yeah, and that's amazing to hear that as a heart transplant recipient, because you don't get to see the behind the scenes, that much, and obviously all logistics and all that goes through. So to hear that everyone's sort of pulling, for you in your favor to make this all happen is a incredible thing. So we've just got such great medical professionals, from the nurses to the doctors, the surgeons in this country, and we're just so fortunate to have that.
Yeah, and this program it's actually funded by the federal government, so we have to thank the politicians, even though we're very rare to do that. But in the end, here we've got something that's been funded by the government, and by both governments in New Zealand as well. Again, all striving for that end point. So it's when there's a lot of negatives in the world, it's nice to be working. That's why I love working for this program, because there's a lot of positives just at the patient level, and then when you get your head around thinking about all those other people that are helping this happen, it's very rewarding.